Buddy, and welcome to another Cricut craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's completely free. I put out new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays with the occasional bonus live video. If you hit the bell icon, that will let you know when I post a new video or when I go live. Today's video, we are going to talk about how to add alcohol ink to acrylic blanks. So what I've used is a blank Ohio State. These are keychains. I got them from 651 Vinyl. And then I make a little Easter egg. This one came out super fun. And all I've done is just use alcohol ink, some of the Pearl Mixative, and I used UV resin, and then the brand new glitter duster. This is a new item that 651 Vinyl is carrying, and it's really fun. I'm going to show you guys how to use this. So to get started, all you're going to need are just some alcohol inks in any color that you choose. 651 carries these. I will link them below. I have a blending solution. This you don't necessarily need, but it's pretty fun to play with. And then I always have a little bottle of regular rubbing alcohol. It's great for little cleanups, and it's also great to help blend your colors. I have some glitter, some StarCraft. I'm going to use the color Call Me Captain in this one. And then I always wear gloves when working with alcohol inks. You can get these super cheap off of Amazon. I will link them below. But they're super handy because you can actually keep your hands way cleaner. Alcohol ink tends to stick to your hands and get everywhere. So let's get started. We are going to add alcohol inks to acrylic blanks today, and I have the State of Ohio and then a little Easter egg. I just thought these would be really fun. So the first thing that we're going to do is peel off the protective coating just off of one side. I am using my pin pen to try to lift this. It's not always easy. When working with alcohol inks, I do always recommend wearing gloves because they are quite messy and they will get everywhere. Now I will say this blue is always a little bit harder for me to get off for some reason because it seems to rip a little bit easier than the white. I think it's a little bit thinner. So there's that one. And I know the State of Ohio is a little bit hard to see because it's on white paper. Make sure you are protecting your surface when you are working with alcohol inks as well. I just have a piece of cardstock down because I'm not doing anything too big. So we're going to just do some fun colors. I think with the State of Ohio, I might use, let's see, I've got crimson, which is fun. So I think maybe we'll do crimson and then add the Pearl Mixative to that one. And then with the Easter egg, we maybe will do like Wild Plum and Stream, and then maybe Botanical. 651 carries these inks now. They don't carry all the colors that I have because I have a couple colors that they don't carry yet, but they are adding new colors all the time. So now what we're going to do is all you do is you take your alcohol ink and you can just kind of drop it onto your design, however, wherever you want. And I realize that looks a little bit scary right now, but don't worry. It won't look scary forever because you can totally add to it. I'm going to let this one sit a little bit and let that alcohol ink kind of move around for a minute. And then we'll do the Easter egg, which, like I said, this one we're going to do a couple more colors on. I think the Ohio, I may just do one color with the Mixative. What the Mixative does is it adds kind of a, this one is a pearl, so it adds like a pearly shine, where the other one, when you do alcohol inks, it kind of adds color. So over here on the egg, I'm just kind of dripping these in no real order whatsoever. This one, I must have put the lid on too tight, but this is the Botanical. And you can just sort of drop them wherever you want. You can add the blending solution, which I have, to help blend them. The State of Ohio looks like it's a little bit bloody right now, but I kind of like it because we're going to do the Mixative with it. So you can get these little applicators and you can like blend them by hand if you want, or you can just let them kind of run around like how this one's doing. I think that looks really cool. You can add alcohol ink, like regular like spray in a little spray bottle alcohol, or I have blending solution, which this stuff goes a long way, and it's just to use to like lighten or blend them more. So like this egg looks really dark because it's on blue, but like I'll show you what the blending solution does. Watch this. We'll just drip a little bit in there and check that out. It makes like I don't know how well you can see it, but it makes like this really cool like little pattern in there, and it kind of lets them blend a little bit more. So I'm going to add some to the red here and just see if we can get some kind of neat patterns going. There is no wrong way to do these. You cannot screw up an alcohol ink, because if you end up hating what it does, you can just wash it off. Just get some rubbing alcohol and simply wash it off. Now, I didn't mix my, you gotta shake your mixative, and I forgot to. So I just added nothing to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake up my mixative, and you can see how like light that got in spots from that blending solution. It's really fun. And then I'm just gonna add some mixative. Now be careful with mixatives because they can kind of overtake your color. So let's do it. Let's add a couple drippy droppies to the egg. What the heck? Again, you really can't mess these up. I promise. You cannot. And look at how cool this is. It's like adding all these neat little swirls. And if you want to kind of move it around, you can absolutely do that. You can take your design or your piece and just sort of kind of move it. And you'll see like this one's got some drippies. So I'm just going to kind of move it around a little. Look at how fun. Isn't that fun? And now this is protected on the other side from the alcohol inks with the plastic that is on them. So you can add, again, blending solution. You can take regular alcohol and just spritz it. Now that did kind of make a mess because this one's a little bit wet, but it's fine. I don't mind. It's totally cool. You can't really screw this up, but you do just want to be careful with what you're doing and how you're using them. Now with this one, we can always add, if we wanted to, maybe some shell pink just to kind of lighten it. You can do whatever you want. There is no right or wrong way. And we're going to add glitter to these once they have dried. I'm going to show you guys a really fun way. Let's add a little aqua. What the heck? I like aqua. I'm just going to do like a couple tiny little dabs of the aqua. Again, you really can't mess these up. I just think this is so fun. And I love the little bit of sheen that the pearl mixative adds to these. I just think it's really fun. And I actually kind of want to add like maybe another little drip to the egg, because the egg is really fun. And this is like one of my favorite. We're just gonna go crazy on the egg. What the heck? But look at this. You can see how it's changing with each thing that you add. So if you don't like it, you can wipe it off. You can add more crimson if you wanted to. Like, you can do whatever you want. There is no wrong way to do this. And I just think this is a fun thing that you guys can do with acrylics, and you are going to get a different look every single time. Now I'm adding a little bit of blending solution to this. I'm going to add a dribble drabble over here just to get a little more of a blend. And now what we'll do, now if you've decided that that's how you want them to look and you're done, you are totally fine. You can do whatever you want. You can wipe them off if you don't like it. But I'm going to add just a little bit of pearl because I really love this pearl and I just think it does fun things to these drips. What I'm going to do now is let this dry. I wouldn't recommend blowing anything on these because they are relatively wet with all of the alcohol, but I would let them dry, and then I'm going to show you how to cover them in a UV coating, and we're going to add some glitter using the glitter duster because who doesn't love a little sparkle? I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible for you guys to see, but I have to keep it in a box, otherwise I'm going to have glitter everywhere. But what we're going to use is some UV resin. I got this off Amazon. I will link it below. I've let these dry, both of them. So now what we're going to do is you're going to put UV resin on. You don't need to put a ton on this first coat because we'll coat over it one more time after we put the vinyl on it. But we're going to go ahead and put a coat of UV resin on. Now you do want to make sure that you don't get it in the hole. Like I can see this one's starting to kind of go towards the hole. So I'm just going to pull it away from the hole. And I used a heat gun on these to dry them so that they would dry a little bit quicker. And now all you do is you just take your UV resin and you just push it so that it goes to the edge. You don't want to push a ton to the edge or it will drip off the side. And I'm just using a silicone brush. Now I will say that this does like to slide on this cardboard, so you do have to be a little bit careful. I did actually add a little bit more of the pearl mixative once this one started to dry because I didn't like where the lines were. So you'll see this one's a little bit pearlier than the other. Also, when you're working with UV resin, please do this in a well-ventilated area because UV resin does have a pretty strong smell to it until it's cured, and usually that smell's gone. So now I'm going to just push all my UV resin around. You want to make sure that you've coated your entire keychain or your acrylic blank or whatever you're coating. And you'll just see I'm pushing it towards the edge, but I'm not pushing a ton of it at the edge because I don't want it to roll down. And I might need to add a little bit to this one, but I think we might be all right. Because again, this coat doesn't need to be super thick and heavy, but you do want to make sure that you have it coated. And it'll level itself out for the most part, which is nice. But you do just want to kind of make sure that you have it all the way covered. And I might just need a smidge more. Sometimes you do just need to add like a little drop more somewhere. And you can just add a little drop to where it looks like it's not as filled in, and then just kind of move it around to fill in any of those little spots. And I'm going to let that guy sit and rest by himself, and then we're going to move the egg ones around. You'll want to do this away from any open windows because the UV resin is cured by UV light, meaning the sun. We are going to be using a UV light that they use for curing nail polish. So when you go into the nail salon and stuff and they make you stick your hand under, that's what we're going to use. I love my little UV light. It works so well, and I will link it below for you guys. It is one of my favorite things that I've gotten off of Amazon for crafting. This egg is going to need a little bit more resin on him. He doesn't have quite enough. But again, with this one, I'm doing a really thin coat for this coat because we'll add another coat once we have done this one, but we do need to add just a twinge more. Just a little drop. And I've been using that same little bottle of UV resin for months, and I have not run out yet, but I do have another larger bottle that I did buy recently right after Christmas. So you'll just move your UV resin around. I typically use the tip of my brush to push it towards the edges. And like I said, it will level out for the most part by itself. So I usually let it sit a little bit before I do anything else with it. Some people will hit them with a heat gun to get any bubbles out, which we may try because I do have my heat gun right here. Heat isn't going to affect it in any way. For the most part, just be careful. So we're going to hit it with the heat gun, even though it's going to be, there's glitter, and I don't care if the glitter gets on them, so it's fine. Because we're going to add glitter, but I'm just going to do this to get some of the bubbles out, if there's any bubbles. And I'm using it on low and just very, very lightly going over it. And then we're going to use our glitter duster. Now this thing is really cool. You can kind of angle it where you need it to go. And you're just going to lightly press the button, and it's going to dust glitter. So literally just a very thin coat of glitter. So you don't want a ton on these. That's why I'm using the glitter duster, because it does. But you'll want to do this inside of a box with sides on it. That way you're not going to get glitter everywhere. And I know you guys probably can't really see the glitter right now, but I don't know if you guys can see that at all. But once I get these under the UV light and they have it cured, we will show you how awesome they look. So I'm going to stick them under the UV light, which is just this little guy. His cord's kind of short, so I can't quite get him under the thing, but he just lights up like that, and then you cure your light. So I'm going to move them over so that I can get the light on them. They usually sit under the light for about 4 minutes for me. And once they are cured, we can add any vinyl if we want. We can do pretty much anything we want to them, or we can just leave them as is. So let's go ahead and put them under the light, and when we come back, I'll show you them all finished. Here are our finished alcohol ink keychains. Now, some people will say that you should paint part of them white to make the alcohol show up, but I didn't paint either one of them. And both sides, you can see the alcohol ink. I think they came out really cool. I actually really like that. I will say if you're using a super light color though, you might want to consider painting it white. Usually just using a Krylon spray paint on one side works really well. But all I've done, again, I just used alcohol ink on these, and then, I don't know, I'm going to try to get this to focus for you guys. But there are little, can you see them? Oh yeah, you can. There are little specks of glitter. I added that glitter using the spray, the little glitter duster, and I love how it came out. It's so cool. So this is obviously the egg. And then our little Ohio, I added some StarCraft HD, and it's really small. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it's super tiny. I love how it came out. You can see the little glitter specks. The pearl is so cute on this. These came out really, really cute, and they were really easy to do. These make awesome gifts. They're perfect little like Easter basket stuffers. You can get your kids involved making these. Granted, a little messy, always wear gloves. Highly recommend gloves when doing this, but you can do so many different things with the alcohol inks on these acrylics. These also make really fun Christmas ornaments, so if you're not into like keychains, because I'm not a big keychain gal, you can absolutely use these as Christmas ornaments, gift tags. There's so much that you can do with these that you can be super creative. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I am always happy to answer those for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays with the occasional bonus live video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and happy crafting.